Welcome to Papa Nick's Music. I am, as always, your host, Papa Nick Lewis. And today we're talking about the Bee Gees. Um, I like the Bee Gees. As a cursory glance at the titles of my videos will tell you, I like old music. This is not because I'm an old fart and we did music right back in my day. We didn't use auto tune or pitch correction, and we had drummers who could keep time. You didn't have to use a click track back in. While I do understand that there is a significant technological difference between adding an effect to, say, adding, for example, distortion or reverb to a guitar, and processing a vocal using auto tune and pitch correction. I understand that there is a significance difference there. A significance difference? I understand there's a significant difference there, he said, grasping the English language correctly. But I also understand that it's a difference that, frankly, most people who listen to music don't give a shit about. When people listen to music, they don't care how it was created. They don't care how it was performed. They don't care if the musician actually did all of those notes. They're just listening to the end product. And if they like the end product, then they like it. If they don't like the end product, they don't like it. And so while I do agree that there are significant differences between the way music was recorded, say, 40 years ago and the way it is recorded today, ultimately that does not mean anything. There is still good music being recorded today. There will always be good music recorded. There's a lot of crap being recorded today. There's always been a lot of crap being recorded. That has not changed. So when I hear the ranting about auto tuning and that sort of stuff, in my mind, to me, that is the same. It's the same generational pissing that has always gone on. Every generation has always pissed on the generation that's coming up after them, just as they were pissed on by the generation that came before. That's just natural. That's the normal evolution of things. And I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that I like old music because new music sucks. Because no, there's a lot of really good new music out there. I'm saying I like old music just because I like old music. I'm saying this the same way that if I'm going to listen to music, I'm going to tend to listen to pop or rock. I'm not going to listen to country or heaven forbid, opera. There are just types of music that I like. So when I'm looking for music, if I'm looking for new music, new to me anyway, I have a tendency to go back and look at older artists that I'm a fan of, but that I have a cursory awareness of, right? And the Bee Gees fit that bill. I love the Bee Gees because I grew up listening to the Bee Gees. They were omnipresent in top 40 radio throughout the late 60s through the early 70s, or through the late 70s, which is when I was developing my musical taste. You could not swing a dead cat on a top 40 playlist without hitting at least one Bee Gees song during that time frame. And so I like a lot of this music, but I have an awareness of the Bee Gees. I like them in the sense that I like their greatest hits, right? Going back through my archives, I have two Bee Gees albums. I have Bee Gees Gold, Volume 1. Oh, Volume 1 here. Which is, Massachusetts, Lonely Days, Words, I've Got to Get a Message to You. This is the stuff that they did in the late 60s up through like 71, 72. This is the Bee Gees as just another British pop band that had wonderful vocal harmonies. And, of course, in 1977 it was passed as a federal law. Every house must have a copy of Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. So, yeah, I've got a copy of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. I always have. This is, I'm in compliance. And this is, the high point of the Bee Gees during the disco years, right? So I'm familiar with that stuff. I love that stuff. That is all wonderful stuff, but that's the extent of my knowledge of the Bee Gees, is that stuff. And so over the next couple of months, I'm going to be going through the Bee Gees catalog. I'm going to work through them chronologically, album by album. I'm going to listen to all of them. I'm going to debate internally. All the different voices in my head get to participate in this one. And I'm going to decide whether or not I actually am a fan of the Bee Gees. I've done just enough of this to know that, yes, I'm going to come out the other end of this as a fan of the Bee Gees. So this is groundwork for that. This is the foundation. This is my square one. Okay, these are the songs. When I think of the Bee Gees, these are the songs that I think of, and I'm gonna give you a very quick top 10 of the Bee Gees' top 40 hits from 1967 to the latest one that I've got on my list is from 1979. They actually had top 40 hits into the 80s and 90s. Between 1967 and 1997, they released an album in 2001, I believe, but they didn't have any top 40 charting singles off of that album, as far as I know. When we're looking at top 40 charting singles, it goes from 67 to 97. And in that time span, the Bee Gees had 29 top 40 hits. Of those 29 in 30 years, that ain't bad. Of those 29, 23 hit the top 20. Of those 23, 15 hit the top 10. And of those 15, 9. 9 of them hit number one. That's amazing. That's impressive. And so that's the ground I'm working today. This is if you are a reasonably cognizant fan of pop music, you should be familiar with these songs. Before I deal with my top 10, though, I do have to do my subjectivity notice. Artistic appreciation is, by nature, by definition, a subjective thing. There is no such thing as objectively good music or objectively bad music. There is only music that I like and music that I do not like. I don't care how bad something is. If you look at it objectively, you look at the Shags, and okay, have good luck to you if you're going to try to, objectively measure the quality of the Shags. There are people out there that love the Shags, right? I don't care how good or bad something is in your perspective. There will be somebody out there who disagrees with you. This is all subjective. It's all subject to taste. It's all subject to personal perception. So, I am not saying that these are the 10 objectively best songs of the Bee Gees AT40 dominance in the 67 to 79. No, I'm saying these are my 10 favorites out of those. And as long as we keep that in mind, this is a wonderful conversation. It's full of sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and everything that is happy and lovely. As soon as one or the other of us starts thinking in terms of being objectively right or wrong, that's when everything goes into the shit chute. So we're not going to do that. When it comes to the Bee Gees radio hits from the 60s and 70s, these are my top 10. Ready? Okay. Coming in at number 10, there was actually a logjam here. I had a bunch of songs from the late 60s, early 70s that were trying to get their way up in here. And I had a couple of the disco era songs that were trying to get their way in here. It's like that last helicopter out of Hanoi kind of a thing, right? I mean, we had to leave a few people behind. But the thing, the song that got the last seat on the bus, so to speak, he said, mixing his metaphors, is from 1979. It's from their Spirits Having Flown album, and it is Love You Inside Out. I've always liked this song. I liked it when it was a hit the first time around, and I like it still today. I think it has aged very well. Some of this stuff, hasn't aged as well. Tragedy came off the same album, has not aged as well. The cheesy explosion just sounds cheesy. Tragedy with you. Tragedy makes me shudder. But Love You Inside Out. Oh man, that's a winner. That's an A+. All 10 of these, by the way, are A+ songs. Love You Inside Out. I love that song. It is number 10. Coming in at number 9. Now we're going back to their first album that was released in the United States, Bee Gees' first. Their third album overall, but the first one that they released here in the United States. Yes, I've started doing my research. Love You Inside Out, back at number 10. Man, that got all the way to number 1. This one got as high as 17. It didn't crack the top 10. It did make the top 20. And it is To Love Somebody. To Love Somebody the Way I Love You. Oh, I love this song. This is just a great little pop tune. I love To Love Somebody. from Bee Gees' first, number 9, To Love Somebody. Coming in at number 8. So I mentioned earlier the Bee Gees had essentially two peaks, right? They had their early 60s or their late 60s peak, excuse me, as British pop band that does good vocals, and they had their mid to late 70s peak as disco band, right? Well, in between here, there's a valley. And in this valley, they didn't have much in the way of top 40 singles. But they did, in 1972, they released a song that was moderately successful. It hit number 16 on the charts at its highest point. It is from the 1972 album To Whom It May Concern, and it is Run to Me. I've always liked Run to Me. When I started playing guitar, when I started thinking about playing publicly, I've been playing guitar and I've been singing all my life. I've been playing the guitar since I was in college. But I have been performing for only about the last 10 years or so. And when I was girding my loins, getting ready to start performing, playing in public, I went back and I tried to flesh out my what would become my set list with a bunch of different songs, so that I'm not just doing 2 hours of the Beatles and an hour of the Beach Boys, right? I was trying to flesh it out a little bit, and I thought, okay, I need to have a Bee Gees song in here, and Run to Me was the first song that I put into my set list. I love this song. I love the melody. I love the lyrics. It's just, this is a really nifty song. Number 8 from 1972, Run to Me. Number 7. This is the song that is the most recent addition to my set list. I'm actually still working on it. But coming soon to a restaurant patio near you. Number 7 is from 1968 and was just released as a single. It was not released on any albums until they started cranking out greatest hits albums, and that is from 1968, Words. They're only words, and words are all I have to steal your heart away. Oh, it's a great song. I love Words. Got all the way up to number 15 on the charts. Love that song. Okay, number 6. I am willing to bet that there are, on this list of 10, on the whole list of 29, there are going to be a handful of these songs that everybody knows. That everybody knows. Not just that everybody recognizes, that everybody knows some of the chorus, and everybody can kind of hum along. No, I mean, there are going to be some of these songs that everybody knows. They know backwards and forwards. You start playing the song, and the crowd, no matter how big it is, will be able to sing along with you. Number 6 is one of those songs. It's from 1971. This, on my top 10, I do a quick count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half of my top 10 hit number 1. Love You Inside Out hit number 1, and this song from 1971 hit number 1. It was the smash single off of their Trafalgar album, and yes, it is How Can You Mend a Broken Heart. I love this song. This was the second song I added to my set list from the Bee Gees. It's just a nice, poignant little song. I love the fact that Robin sings lead on one verse, Barry sings lead on the other. That's just the way these guys swap off stuff, the way they sing together, even when they're not harmonizing. When Robin and Barry just sing the same line at the same time, it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful singers. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? Love that song. Okay, at number 5, this is my last entry from the original late 60s, early 70s. This is another song off of that first U.S. release, Bee Gees' first. Got all the way up to number 14, and that is, of course, New York Mining Disaster, 1941. I love this song. I love the delicacy of the melody, the delicacy of the arrangement. It is one of the, if not the best marriage. I hate quick grammar tangent. I hate that. One of the, if not the, one of the best marriages, if not the best marriage. Right? So if you do one of the, if not the, do you do marriages or marriage? Bugs me. Bugs the hell out of me every time. But New York Mining Disaster is a really great marriage between the lyrical content of the song, the musical composition of the song, and then the arrangement of the song. Because the entire song just reeks of don't make any sudden movements, don't make any sudden noises, because this whole thing can collapse on us at any time. I am in awe of this song. And the more I listen to it, the more I want to just crank it higher and higher and higher up the list. I think it is brilliant songwriting and song production. I cannot say enough good things about New York Mining Disaster 1941. Now, that being said, it's at number 5 because I like the I like the 4 above it better. If I'm going to listen to a song for entertainment value, man, I'm going to those 4. If I'm listening to a song for artistic value, then New York Mining Disaster is going to get higher up on the list. My next 4, I've got them in order from 1 to 4, and I believe in the order that they're in from 1 to 4. I think my number 1 is my number 1, my number 2 is my number 2, etc. This is not a 4-way tie, and on any given day, none of that bullshit. I do stand by the 1 through 4 ranking here, but the distance between these is microscopic, right? If we're talking about percentage rankages, today's video, as always, is brought to you by Schoefferhofer Beer, and believe it or not, this is my first one of the day. If we are ranking these things using percentages, we're going to be rounding down to like the 100th spot, right? We've got, I like this one 98.99, and the next one's 98.98, and 98.97, and 98.96, right? I mean, for all practical purposes, they are essentially the same. But I do stand by the order. I just want to make it abundantly clear that we're talking 4 inside the park home runs here. Coming in at number 4. There are a few of these songs that I said earlier that everybody knows. There are a few of these songs that everybody recognizes just right off the bat, and this is one of those. It hit number 1 in 1975. It is from their album Main Course, and the beginning of it. As soon as you hear that, you know it's Jive Talking. Oh, I love Jive Talking. I love the little detail that I've picked up watching Bee Gees documentaries, because yes, I'm starting to do my research. I love the little detail that rhythmic pattern came to Barry as they were driving into the studio. They're living in and working in Miami at the time. They're driving into the studio that day, and he's listening to the sound of the tires passing over the seams in the concrete as they're going over a bridge, and it's a and he took that into the studio, and they just built Jive Talking off of that groove. Oh man, I love this song. Jive Talking, 1975, number 4. Number 3. Okay, we've got there. It took us a while, but we've made it to Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. For number 3, if you had asked me, just out of the blue, a few days ago, before I started thinking about this stuff, before I started preparing my actual list, if you said, what's your favorite song off of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, I would have said Night Fever, because I've always loved Night Fever. Oh my God, I love this song. I love how the lush arrangement and the production, and oh, I love this song. I mean, I really love Night Fever. And I would have said that was my favorite song. And as it is, it made it all the way up to number 3 on my list. It wasn't until I actually looked at the track list and started listening to the songs in my head that I realized, oh no, there's there's another song that I like more. Before I get to that other song I like more, I need to give you my number 2, though. And my number 2, I'm back to Main Course, right? Main Course from 1975, it gave us Jive Talking. And it also gave us the song here that is, out of all 10 of these, I think, the Darkest Horse. There, you just talk to people and generate your communal lists of your favorite Bee Gees radio hits. And I don't know that anybody else is going to just automatically spit out Fanny Be Tender With My Love. But it has always been one of my favorite songs. Not just one of my favorite Bee Gees songs, but one of my favorite songs. If I'm making my top 100, these are my favorite songs. These are the songs that if I'm going to be stuck on a desert island, if I can't have these 100 songs, I'm going to go just fucking insane. Fanny Be Tender With My Love is going to be on that list. I have always loved this song. I'm not sure why. There's just something about it that appeals to me. It's a nice enough lyric. The melody, I think, is really nice. The chord projection is good. It's just, for whatever reason, it strikes a chord deep within me, and I really like Fanny Be Tender With My Love. I like it so much that I've got it at number 2. My number 1, though, there are certain songs that I really, really like, that for reasons that are unfair, they tend to drop, right? When I'm looking at Spirits Having Flown, back for number 10, I had Love You Inside Out, right? Spirits Having Flown also included the song Too Much Heaven, which is just a brilliant song. It's a beautiful song. It's a wonderful song. But I have heard I've watched concert footage of the Bee Gees singing Too Much Heaven completely a cappella. And that complete a cappella version of Too Much Heaven is transcendently beautiful. It is. I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. It's one of those things, right? It's so good that I'm going to have a drink of Schoverhofer. That's good beer. But that a cappella version of Too Much Heaven is so good that the studio release now is a little bit less than, right? Which is why Love You Inside Out hit number 10, Too Much Heaven didn't. When I look at my number 1 song, we run this very same risk, because my favorite of these Bee Gees songs is from the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack from 1977, How Deep Is Your Love? And How Deep Is Your Love is one of these songs that they would regularly do a cappella. If they're doing interviews, if they're doing a panel show, or if they're doing a morning show or something like that, and the host says, oh, well, why don't you give us a tune? Right? This is one of the ones that they do. And to listen to them do it a cappella is just, it's oh. But when you listen to the studio version, it's not just the harmony of these 3 guys singing together. It's the harmony of these 3 guys singing together in multiple layers. And it is just... The vocal arrangement on this song is a contender. If I'm doing my top 10 best vocal arrangements ever, How Deep Is Your Love is going to be on that list. And it's going to be high on that list. And there is a good chance it's going to come in at number 1. This thing, not just that it rivals the best songs that the Beach Boys, for example, ever did, it leaves behind most of the work that the Beach Boys ever did. this the oh, I cannot say enough good things about the quality of the vocal harmonies in How Deep Is Your Love. It is fantastic. I love this song. So I like the Bee Gees. So these are my top 10 Bee Gees radio hits, their top 10, top 40 hits. As I go forward, what I'm going to be doing, I've already started doing this. I do a little bit of research. I learn a little bit about the band, and I go back and I listen again to the stuff that I'm familiar with, and then I go and I just start working my way through the discography. And as I do this, I'm going to be updating y'all. I don't know yet what form that updating is going to take. I don't know if I'm going to, what makes sense to me is to have at least 3 videos. One video where I talk about that first wave of albums between 1967 and 1970, 4-ish, 73, 74, whatever. And then second wave, the disco years, and then third wave, now that disco has died, are we going to be able to keep our career going, right? So it makes sense to have a video where I talk about the albums in each of those eras. I know at the very least when I come out the end of this thing, I'm going to have a ranking video of all of their albums, and I'm going to have at least one more top 10. Whether that's a top 10 of album cuts or an overall top 10, I don't know yet. I don't know what all the music is yet, right? Because I'm just now starting this journey. But I am going to be giving you regular updates. Get ready for it. If you don't like the Bee Gees, you're going to be tuning out on me for the next couple of months because there's going to be a lot of Bee Gees content coming your way. It's not going to be all Bee Gees all the time. We've got other videos in the pipeline. I'm still working on. I have almost finished my Beatles top 40. I've been dying for a couple of weeks now to do a video about comic music because I love comic music. So I've been working on both of those. But overall, this is going to be the summer of the Bee Gees. So I encourage you to join me on this journey. If you are already one of these Bee Gees fans, if that's why you're watching this, because you are a dipped by your heels in the river Styx fan of the Bee Gees, give me some pointers down below. You live in this country. Tell me what I should visit and what I shouldn't. I always love hearing from you. If you have disagreements with the way I've ranked these, drop those down below. I always love hearing from you. It's a wonderful conversation, as long as we remember there's no such thing as objectively right and wrong. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm assuming you did if you're still watching. If you did, please click the like button. I would appreciate that. And if you haven't, go ahead and click the subscribe button because, why not? You've got so many subscriptions, it doesn't matter. You can add one more. If you do subscribe, click the bell notification the bell icon for notifications. It makes a difference to the YouTube folks. I don't know why, but it does. So it would be nice. I would appreciate it if you would do that. Thanks again for watching today, and I hope that the rest of your day is playful. See you soon.